Yeah, welcome back to the channel. This is 401 Styling. Today we are going to be making this exaggerated scallop structure sleeve. This is my first trial and it is interesting, fun to make, and I'm very sure you would like to give it a try. So let's just get started. Just like every other sleeve design, you are going to need your basic sleeve pattern for this particular type of sleeve, the long sleeve to be precise. I already have a pattern. I just trace out the pattern and I highlighted it with my marker pen. You can either add your seam allowance by the side or you do that later after you want to cut fabric. Because of the extension that we have, that is why I have allowance here and also at the top. So the first thing you want to decide is the new sleeve length. So for this sleeve now, you're going to be having a new sleeve length. Then you're going to measure from the top edge down to wherever you want it to be. You can also make use of your elbow line to decide on how you want it to be. So you can go down by 2 to 3 inches depending on how long you want the length. But for this one, I'm just going to maintain 2.5 inches. Then I'm going to connect with a straight line, just like you see me doing. And that is going to be the new sleeve length, just like the way I'm labeling it. Okay, so after this now, the next thing you want to do is to decide on how much more you want the extension to be. This extension that we have here, this totally depends on you. You can just do it with a free hand, and if you want to have like a guide, you want to have a measurement to guide, you can just measure 2 inches just like I'm doing now. And from that point, you're going to connect back to the sleeve length like so. So I'm going to be making use of this long ruler because the line is kind of long and it's going to extend a bit to the upper part, and that is why we needed the allowance. So after this now, you're going to start to create your scallop design, okay, using that 2 inches as a guide. It is actually optional. It's totally optional. You can do this with your free hand, and if you know that you want it to be even and you just want the same shape all through, you can simply measure using 2 inches away from this line, okay, and you're going to connect with scallop design, a scallop shape. We all know what a scallop shape is, so you are going to go ahead and create the shape. So what I'm trying to do here is to divide this line to see how much more scallop I can have. But no matter what you are doing, make sure that you do not draw your shape close to the line, except when you are about to get to the new sleeve length. Okay, so this one I'm going to be doing it with my free hand. The first thing I'm going to do is to draw out the lines using my free hand, and once I'm satisfied with what I have, then I can go ahead to make the line more visible. And another thing is make sure that the line is not too small, because the smaller the lines, the more difficult it might be for you when you want to start sewing or turning out your shapes. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw the line, then I'm going to highlight it. Just like I have here, I already corrected my lines and this is what I have. I'm just going to trace out the parts that I'm going to join to my armhole. Then I'm going to clean up the pencil that I used to draw my line earlier. So this is what you're going to have. This is something you can actually do with a free hand without taking any measurements or ruling anything. Just be creative about it, as long as you get the scallop effect that we wanted. Next thing we want to do is to cut this, and we're going to be cutting 2 of this. So this time around, this line here is not going to be needed and it's not going to be on fold, because definitely we can't have a scallop shape on fold. We're going to be cutting out on the line. We are only going to be joining by the side. So after this now, the next thing I want to do is to add my sewing allowance. Now I'm going to add my joining allowance by the side, allowance of about 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to connect with a straight line like so. So here I'm going to label it as my seam allowance, and I'm going to write 0.5 inch. Okay, so when I want to stitch, I'll know that I added 0.5. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut it out. I already have a video on how to draft and cut a basic sleeve pattern using 2 different methods. So I'm going to be dropping the link to that video in the description box, so kindly check it out. And if you find this video helpful, kindly give it a thumbs up, click on the like button, click on the subscribe button, and do not forget to like and share this video. Thank you. So guys, we're done cutting, and this is what exactly is going to look like. So we're going to be cutting 2 of this. So guys, I already transferred this to the pattern and I added 0.5 sewing allowance around the scallop area and also by the side. So I cut two of this, and I'm also going to be cutting the lining. Then I'm going to be adding my interface to both the lining and the fabric. So guys, I'm done doing that, and this is what I have. Okay, here is what we have. So just like you have here, I already cut two and I also cut the lining. Then you're also going to be adding interface to the back like this. Any kind of interface that's going to give you structure, you go ahead and add it. So I added my art stay, so you can add art stay, you can put your crinoline mesh or something that is going to be structure. Then I'm also going to notch this part that the scallop shape started from. That is going to be like our center. Remember, we are going to be attaching this to the armhole of a particular dress. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to be making the sleeve without attaching it to anything. So I'm just going to stitch down the scallop area for both the fabric and the lining, and the sewing allowance area is going to be what we are going to be doing last. But before that, go ahead and mark that point where your scallop start from on your main fabric and put the lining, so that you know where you start your sewing or where you stop your sewing. And also on the elbow line, you decide on how much more opening you want, so you can use the elbow line as the guide. And after which I make the sleeve, I realized that the opening is kind of small, so you can just decide to make it wider when you're drafting the pattern, or you just go up a little bit. Okay, but you don't want it to be too wide so that the design can come out well. So I'm done joining, and what I'm going to do now is to notch the points. Just like you see me, I'm going to notch the corner points, trim off the excess and turn it to the right side. And I'm also going to give it a proper press. So I'm repeating the same process on the lining as well. So go ahead and do the same thing. This will make it come out well. So if you do not notch it, it will not relax, it will not come out well. And then as for the wording, you are going to be adding to just one side. You can also add to both sides of the fabric. This is just going to give it more strength. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to be adding to one side. So what we are going to do now, so this part here is where we are going to be joining together like our regular basic sleeve. But before we join it together, I'm just going to take it to my pressing table and give it a proper press. Now I'm done pressing, and this is what it looks like. As you can see, it is more relaxed. And so what we are going to do now is to secure the edge, and here is where our arm is going to be coming out from. So the next thing we want to do now is to turn this with our lining. So this edge that we have here, we cannot leave it like this. Okay, so we need to turn it with a lining, just like you see me do it. So what we are going to do, we are going to be placing the lining right side facing each other like so. Then we're going to be stitching down this hem area. So to make it easier, you notch this end, this point that you stop your stitching. Then you're going to do the same thing on the fabric. When you're doing this, you need to take your time, because you know you have a scallop shape there, so that it will come out well. So after stitching, this is what it's going to look like. Although it might look somehow, it might be a little bit difficult, but you just have to take your time to do it. Then after this, you are going to bring out all the shapes, open press, and tuck in the lining inside the main fabric. Remember, it has the same shape, so you need to take your time to tuck it in. So after this, the next thing we want to do is to finish it up by joining the side. So to do this, ordinarily we are just going to place it on each other like so. Then we are going to stitch down like we do our basic sleeve. But once a total finish, what we are going to do is to open it up like so. You place it on each other like this, lining to lining, fabric to fabric, and you're going to stitch down with 0.5 sewing allowance. So guys, I'm done sewing, and this is what it's going to look like. Okay, after that, you're going to turn it to the right side, and you're just going to arrange a lining inside the main fabric. This is actually going to look somehow when you're doing this. You just have to take your time. You can work with your pin. Also give it a proper press. This armhole area might look smaller. Just go ahead and trim it off a bit, but make sure that you don't trim more than what you're supposed to have. Okay, so this really take patience. Okay, especially this points, this area. So I'm just going to trim off a bit from this armhole area, because I feel like it's too small. So if your own is too small, please make sure you measure around the armhole to be sure that you're not cutting too much. Then this is what it's going to look like, guys. So, and as you can see, here is where your hem is going to be coming out from. Just like I've said before, I realized that the hem is a bit tight. So next time I'm going to be moving it up a little bit, or I will increase my circumference. Okay, So guys, this is what we have at the end. I'm just going to be placing this on my mannequin now so that we can see the end result. So guys, this is the final result or the end result. You're just going to be attaching to the sleeve, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to be making the sleeve alone, just like I've said before. This is my first trial, and thanks to Precious Apparel for the illustration. I just said I should try it, and yeah, here we are. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. Do not forget to give it a thumbs up, click on the like button, click on the share button, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel if you are yet to do so, and if you have anything you want to let me know, kindly drop in the comment section. And do not forget to check our description link or description box for recommended videos and other interesting videos. Till next time we meet again in my next tutorial. Bye bye and take care of yourself.